two boys. I guess.
Stop that.
I live with two messy boys. And on any given day I come home to something that looks like this. I'm trying to make dinner. Looks like it's going to be a bigger challenge than I thought. This thing is a fucking mess. I have some fennel, which has been here for, I'm not sure how long, maybe since we moved into this place, but it still is relatively fragrant, so I'm going to cut this up and maybe incorporate it into my sauce. The first thing I have to do is clean up, because there's nothing worse than a messy kitchen.
Went to a party, I danced all night. I drank 16 beers, started up a fight. But now I'm jaded.
So what I've decided to make, because I'm kind of restricted for time, is a really simple couscous pork chop kind of dish. I don't really have a name for it because, you know, I generally like to cook as I go. So the ingredients that I have are green beans, fresh green beans, red pepper, onion, chili, optional, and some garlic. Garlic, very important. I've got some old fennel, which isn't moldy, so I think it should be useful. Just to have kind of an interesting, different type of flavor in there. And I've got some fresh pork chops, and I'm going to serve it over couscous. So this dish that I'm going to prepare isn't really rocket science. It's actually quite simple. I'm just crushing up some of the green beans, and I'm going to saute them. And after that, I'm going to incorporate some red pepper, onions, and then simmer that with my favorite tomato sauce, which is Hunt's. It's kind of a no-nonsense, kind of tart and tangy tomato sauce, so I like to cook with that above all else. I've spent most of my life trying to cook in order to impress my mother. So the last thing that I'm going to do, which is quite simple, is to bathe my little piggy in my egg wash. And very simply, just cover it in breading. If you don't like getting your hands dirty, you can very easily throw them back in a Ziploc bag and give them the old shake and bake. But I don't really mind getting dirty. So now that we have all of our ingredients prepared, we're ready to rock and roll. And by rock and roll, I mean cook. So generally the first thing that I always do when I'm sauteing is throw my onions in first. So we get that nice sizzle. I like to use turmeric when I cook, So I'm just going to put a little bit into my onions before I add in anything else because it gives it such a great color. And I really love the flavor of turmeric, especially when I'm eating a Moroccan type dish or a Moroccan inspired dish like couscous. I'm just going to mix that up a little bit. And now that my onions have been sauteing for a few minutes, I'm just going to pour in my red pepper and my green beans. And so those can cook for a little while, give them a nice saute to bring out the flavors. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to get started on my pork chops. These are going to be very fatty, but who cares? Next up, my thighs. I'm going to throw these into the pan. Make sure they're relatively decently covered. And so those are going to fry. You probably want to give them about 8 or 9 minutes aside, maybe a little bit less. So as those fry, I'm going to check on my vegetables again. And they are ready for the tomato sauce. Where's the can opener?
What's in the bathroom?
Where else would it be? I'm going to add this in. Whole thing. Don't be shy.
Go.
As one of my many random strokes of culinary genius, I decided to throw in some green apples. Why not, right? Should be enough for 3 people. Boiling water, just like instant oatmeal. A couple of cups should be fine. And then you want to give it a good stir. Delicious. Really smother it. And last but not least, I'm going to take one of my fabulously fatty pork chops, put it on the plate with a couple of apples, also laden with grease, my favorite. And you're done. All of that took less than 20 minutes and it's ready to go for a bunch of unappreciative, filthy roommates. Okay, enjoy. This is Chris.